Many players on this team agree Jordan Bone is the most improved player from the offseason. I spoke with Bone and he said, a lot of coaches, a lot of players have told me I'm the fastest guard in the country, but I don't know how to use that speed. So I wanted to work on using that speed this summer. His secret weapon, film study. Not just his own film, he watched some of the best NBA point guards. Damian Lillard, Chris Paul, and Russell Westbrook. He said those guys know how to change speed, they know their pace of play, they're aggressive, they can attack any defense, and I wanted to embody that. So he practiced that in the offseason during the summer back at home in Nashville, brought that back to Knoxville, and Coach Barnes could see a difference. Bone said that Barnes has been very encouraging of him, but also pushing him to get better and not be complacent with his play. Bone says he really understands the offense this season and feels more comfortable, more confident, feels like he can really be flexible with his play this season. One thing Coach Barnes does not want this season is any drop-off when he goes to the bench. He said last season we had numbers, but we didn't have the depth. When Kyle Alexander got hurt during the tournament and he went out, we didn't have anyone to replace him. So the coaching staff understood they had to fix this problem going into the season. Barnes asked John Fulkerson to be more than the player that they recruited. He asked Eve Pons and Jalen Johnson to be more than just go-to players off the bench. He challenged Bowden to learn how to play the point position, and he challenged all the starters to expand their game. This coaching staff, these players understand everybody's going to have to play valuable minutes if they want to have a successful and long season. Well, Tennessee head coach Rick Barnes and Louisiana head coach Bob Marlin both moved to the state of Texas in 1998 to coach. Marlin went on to coach for Sam Houston State for 12 seasons. Barnes went to Texas to coach for 17 seasons, and the two got to know each other during that time. They would go to each other's practices. Marlin actually went to Tennessee's practice last night, and when they both moved on from those schools to Tennessee and Louisiana, they took assistants with them. Marlin has two assistants who came from Sam Houston State. One started coaching with Marlin in '92. Barnes took two assistants with him as well, and they said when you move to a different school and you bring assistants with you that trust you and know your values, your coaching values, it makes the transition so much easier. Sonora Dinook missed last season not because of injury, but because she was pregnant. Her and her husband had a little boy named Aiden. He's almost 7 months old now. Coach Mock says it's her first time coaching a mother, and she says she loves it, and it takes a special person like Sonora to do this, someone who can have a child and then go out and play college basketball. And guys, on top of this, she keeps a 3.75 GPA, so just an all-around amazing person. Coach Mock says she's extremely proud of her. Coach Barnes, your team is shooting more than 50% going into the half. What are you liking out of the offense?
Well, we're moving balls. Still think we settle too much. We're going to get jump shots. We can get those.
It's midway through the third quarter, and Stetson has the lead against the Lady Vols. Junior Addie Walters for Stetson has been big so far in this game. She has 15 points, and she comes from a basketball family. That's in her DNA. Her father, Rex Walters, played for Kansas, helped lead Kansas to a Final Four in 1993. He played 7 years in the NBA and is the current assistant coach for the Nevada men's basketball team. They're ranked in the top 10 right now, and she says that her father helped her huge in her game of basketball. She says, I got my shot from my dad. He was a shooter, and that's what I am for Stetson. He doesn't like to watch games live because he gets a little too worked up, but she says he's always there for some great advice afterwards. Her brother is a walk-on at Stetson. She says when they're home, there's always a pickup game going on. Grant, 31 points, 3 threes from you tonight. You are a different player than last season. Why did you expand your shooting game this season?
Everything's for the team. I would say that these guys needed me to do my job, and I did a better job of it tonight. Coach called me out on it yesterday. We had a deep talk, and we sat there, and it was what I had to do for these guys.
Well, Tennessee had 542 turnovers last year, averaging 16.4 a game, and Holly Werlich watched each turnover back last season and charted them all. And she says a lot of it was because we were playing too fast, a lot of unforced errors, and also because of our youth. She says we understand they're going to happen because of how tough and how fast we play, but we need to correct that because once we get into the SEC play, we can't afford that. Mimi, you scored the team's first 6 points. You finished with 6 steals. How did you set the tone for this team early on in the game?
just coming out with a lot of energy. Our coaches told us to come out with a lot of energy and ball pressure them. And
During that timeout, I got to listen to both huddles. Quite a contrast between the two. UNC Asheville very happy with the way those girls are playing. They like the way that they're looking at the basket, getting those shots and the intensity. Tennessee's side, not so much. Assistant Dean Lockwood said we need to hold ourselves to a higher standard. We still have 1 quarter left, so let's fix it here to finish the game out. Tennessee lost a lot of point production in Jamie Nard and Mercedes Russell, but what they gained is a talented freshman class. And head coach Holly Whirlich expects these 4 to add a lot to the game this season. Of course, you got Renaya Davis back, who's going to be a big factor, but this team understands they're going to score by committee this season, and they're okay with that because of the chemistry they have on the court. Holly Whirlich says you can see this chemistry and the way they interact and play with each other. She says there's no individuals that want to win for themselves. They want to win together as a team. Avina Westbrook had a standout performance against Oklahoma State, scoring 29 points, and the sophomore has been having a great season so far for the Lady Vols, and it's quite a difference from last season. Head coach Holly Whirlich says last season Westbrook struggled at times and would get down on herself. She says that she had a tough time learning a new system and leading at the same time, leading older players, in fact, and she says this season she's confident, she's comfortable, and it's just a complete change of attitude for her. Coach Whirlich, 13 turnovers out of your team in the first half. I know you're not happy with that. How can you do a better job of valuing the basketball and of scoring against that zone defense?
Well, pass to the Tennessee team and not the other team. I mean, we're very careless with the ball.
At the start of the second quarter, Tennessee leads 34-10 against Florida A&M. Well, Tennessee announced their next signing class on Wednesday. It's the number 8 ranked signing class, including the number 2 overall player in the country in Jordan Horston. And this is the 3rd straight year Tennessee has had a top 10 recruiting class. And Coach Whirlich says it starts with her coaching staff, and they do a great job of identifying talent early. And she says it starts with building relationships, though. She says that's what her staff is so great at, is building those relationships. And you know, that's why players commit to places, is because they build these great relationships with players and coaches. One reason why Tennessee's able to push this pace right now is because of the off-season work they did. Their strength coach, Coach Lee, really pushed them hard. They did a lot of running. They had tough practices so that they're able to run it fast in the 4th quarter, and we see this now. And the team can tell that Stetson's starting to get tired, and they just keep turning it on. Florida A&M head coach LaDawn Gibson knows this year is going to be tough for the team. With 11 newcomers, they only returned 3 players, but she's focused on rebuilding this program and building success. She doesn't just want to win year to year. She says the 11 have been doing a great job in practices, really focusing on getting the 6 freshmen used to the speed of college basketball. The returners say they want to use the beginning of the season to work on the team's chemistry and identity with so many new faces. This chemistry in this team is pretty unique, okay? You've got 4 freshmen coming in, you've got 2 returning seniors, and of the 4 freshmen, 2 of them have the biggest personalities on this team in Ray Burrell and Zay Green. And seniors have really embraced these freshmen and these personalities and understand that it can be used for good and as motivation. Holly Whirlich wants these 4 freshmen, including you, to play a big role on this team this season. Why are you guys ready for that role?
We're ready for that role because I feel like we step up a lot in practice.
2 games into this season, what do you want the team's identity to be this year?
It's toughness. It's our mentality across the program, bringing a certain toughness and a standard to the game.
Coach Whirlich, with a 40-point lead going into the half, how do you challenge your team in the 3rd and 4th quarter?
Well, it's about us. It's about us and getting better in spots, getting better on the defensive end.
Holly Whirlich says you're doing a great job leading these freshmen, so what's your favorite part about doing that?
I think that my favorite part is that I have little ones to lead up to. You know, it's great for me. It's hard at times.